Tour de France winner and cycling legend, stripped, of course, of those victories.
Scandal.
Lance Armstrong has begun a kind of apology tour.
Ever wondered how a seemingly invincible sports legend could fall from grace? Lance Armstrong once ruled the world of cycling, winning 7 Tour de France titles and captivating millions with his story of triumph over cancer. But behind the headlines, a web of doping, deceit, and manipulation unraveled his career. Join us as we dive into the rise, scandal, and ultimate downfall of one of the most controversial athletes in history, Lance Armstrong's rise to fame. Lance Armstrong's story begins like a fairy tale. Born on September 18, 1971, in Plano, Texas, Armstrong's early life was filled with athleticism and fierce determination. His passion for sports shone through at a young age, and by the time he was a teenager, he was already making a name for himself in the world of cycling. He turned professional at the age of 21, quickly becoming a force to be reckoned with in the cycling world. However, it wasn't just Armstrong's cycling skills that captivated the world. In 1996, Armstrong was diagnosed with testicular cancer, a diagnosis that would change the course of his life forever. With the odds stacked against him, Armstrong fought valiantly against the disease, undergoing rigorous chemotherapy treatments. Against all odds, he emerged victorious from this battle, and his return to cycling was nothing short of miraculous. In 1999, he won his first Tour de France title, beginning a streak that would see him claim 7 consecutive titles from 1999 to 2005. His story of perseverance made him a global icon, earning him a place among the greatest athletes of all time. The doping allegations begin. Despite his unprecedented success, there were whispers from the beginning. Rumors swirled about Armstrong's dominance, with some accusing him of using performance-enhancing drugs, PEDs, to achieve his seemingly impossible feats. However, Armstrong denied these allegations, vehemently defending his innocence. For years, he silenced critics with his impressive results and his public image as the cancer survivor who overcame insurmountable odds. As Armstrong's career soared, so did the scrutiny. In 2004, Armstrong's former teammate, Frankie Andrew, publicly accused him of doping. Andrew claimed to have overheard Armstrong confessing to doping in front of his wife during Armstrong's 1999 Tour de France victory. The accusations were not enough to topple Armstrong's empire, but they marked the beginning of what would become a much larger scandal: the suppression of doping allegations. As more and more allegations emerged, Armstrong's strategy was clear: silence the accusers and protect his brand at all costs. Armstrong's influence in the cycling world was undeniable, and he used it to intimidate journalists, former teammates, and anyone who dared to question his methods. Selena Roberts, a former Sports Illustrated reporter, detailed the extent of Armstrong's power in suppressing doping allegations. According to Roberts, Armstrong had a network of lawyers and PR professionals working tirelessly to discredit anyone who tried to expose the truth. In her investigation, she found that Armstrong's influence extended far beyond the cycling world, with his cancer shield making it nearly impossible to question his integrity without facing severe consequences. Even those in the media who dared to report on Armstrong's alleged doping were met with threats and intimidation. Armstrong's control over the narrative was so powerful that it left many afraid to speak out. The USADA investigation. It wasn't until 2012 that the truth began to surface. The United States Anti-Doping Agency, USADA, launched a full-scale investigation into Armstrong's career, interviewing more than 20 of his former teammates and cycling officials. The investigation revealed a systematic and long-standing pattern of doping that spanned years, casting a shadow over all of Armstrong's victories. The investigation uncovered evidence of Armstrong's use of EPO, erythropoietin, blood transfusions, and other banned substances. Former teammates testified that Armstrong had not only used these drugs himself, but had also pressured others to do the same. The extent of the doping culture within Armstrong's team was staggering, and it became clear that Armstrong had orchestrated one of the most elaborate doping schemes in sports history. In October 2012, USADA officially stripped Lance Armstrong of all 7 of his Tour de France titles and banned him from professional cycling for life. This was the beginning of the end for Armstrong, who had spent years denying any wrongdoing. The public confession. In January 2013, after years of denying the allegations, Lance Armstrong sat down with Oprah Winfrey for a televised interview. In what was billed as a tell-all, Armstrong finally admitted to using performance-enhancing drugs throughout his career. He confessed to doping during each of his 7 Tour de France victories and acknowledged that his actions were intentional and premeditated. Armstrong's confession was met with mixed reactions. Many saw it as an overdue admission of guilt, while others felt that it was a calculated move to salvage his public image and potentially regain some of his lost sponsorships. Despite his confession, Armstrong maintained that he did not consider himself a cheater because everyone was doing it. This statement only fueled the outrage of fans, sponsors, and fellow athletes who felt betrayed by Armstrong's deceit. Legal and financial consequences. Following his admission of guilt, Armstrong faced a barrage of legal and financial consequences. Several major sponsors, including Nike, Trek, and Anheuser-Busch, severed ties with Armstrong, causing him to lose millions of dollars in endorsement deals. In addition, Armstrong was required to return millions of dollars in prize money, sponsorship fees, and other earnings related to his Tour de France victories. Armstrong was also involved in several high-profile lawsuits. The most notable was a lawsuit filed by the United States government, which sought to recover sponsorship money from Armstrong's time as a spokesman for the U.S. Postal Service. The case was settled for $5 million in 2018, a far cry from the massive fortune Armstrong had once accumulated. Beyond the financial losses, Armstrong's reputation had been irreparably damaged. He went from being a hero to a pariah, a symbol of deception in the world of sports. His downfall was swift and unforgiving, and many of his former fans struggled to reconcile the image of the hero who overcame cancer with the man who had manipulated the sport for his own gain. Redemption or infamy? Despite the devastation caused by the scandal, Armstrong has made attempts to rebuild his life. He has spoken openly about his mistakes and the lessons he's learned, but many feel that redemption may be out of reach. Armstrong's legacy is now defined by the scandal, and his name will forever be associated with cheating, deception, and a massive betrayal of trust. However, Armstrong has not disappeared from the public eye. He continues to participate in charity work, most notably through the Lance Armstrong Foundation, which supports cancer research. While the foundation's success is no doubt an important part of his legacy, it cannot undo the damage caused by his doping scandal. The question remains, can Lance Armstrong ever truly redeem himself, or is he destined to be remembered as a cautionary tale of a sports hero gone wrong? A lesson for sports. The Lance Armstrong scandal serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of unchecked ambition and the lengths to which some athletes will go to maintain their dominance. Armstrong's story isn't just about one man's fall from grace, it's about a culture within professional sports that allowed doping to flourish unchecked for years. Armstrong was not the only one using performance-enhancing drugs, and many athletes followed in his footsteps, often under the belief that they had no choice but to cheat in order to stay competitive. In the aftermath of the scandal, cycling and other sports have made efforts to implement stricter anti-doping policies and to improve transparency. However, the question remains whether these measures are enough to prevent future scandals of this magnitude. Armstrong's actions have left a permanent stain on the sport, and it will take years, if not decades, for cycling to fully recover. Thanks for watching. What do you think of Lance Armstrong's story? Is redemption possible for him, or has his name been forever tarnished by scandal? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more compelling stories from the world of sports.